This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.
Welcome to What's News Dunedin, brought to you by Hazur Kebab, the radio show that spawned from the 20,000 plus strong local Otipoti Dunedin What's News Dunedin Facebook group. The group that's been putting the social back into social media since 2020 with respectful adult debate and a sense of humour. I'm your host Richard Knights. On today's show we're talking to our wonderful guest Georgia Ciaran. Hopefully I've got that right. Head of Philanthropy and Development, Tūhura, Otago Museum, who'll be telling us a bit more about themselves and what they do, as well as helping us look back at the posts that generated the most interactions over the past 7 days. Those posts this week are, most naturally, the new mayor and council being voted in for the next triennium, the government telling the unemployed to go out and get a job and to go where the jobs are when employment is at its highest it's been for 5 years, and also the quandary of the lowest voter turnout in a decade. Welcome to the show, Georgia.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's been a long time organising this for you and I. We've been talking for a while to get you here.
Yeah, we've both been busy.
Oh, absolutely. Busy's good though, right?
Very good.
I'd much rather be busy than not. Now, on the What's News Dunedin Facebook group, we have a Pun Day Monday. So what that basically is on Monday, we do a little post and people bring their best dad jokes. So Max Reed is one of the people on the group, and he's pretty much been a winner since we started doing this. He brings some of the best puns, right? Now, we had a guest on the show, Chelsea McGaw, last week, who kind of decided that they were going to try and get in early on Pun Day Monday. And actually, they've won Pun Day Monday this week, which is fantastic to see. See Max brought down, he's a friend of the show, but see him brought down off his perch a little bit. So, but that pun then gets brought onto the show. Right, so we see then whether it comes off the page and it makes it into the spoken word.
Excellent.
And whether it's still funny. So the pun of the week is this. So pay attention and we'll see whether you laugh or not. You know, there's no requirement to. So a priest, a pastor, and a rabbit walk into a clinic to donate blood. The nurse asked the rabbit, "What is your blood type?" The rabbit said, "I'm probably a typo."
Love it.
Yeah, I like that one as well. That appeals to my.
That's pretty good.
That appeals to my. I like to play with words, so that's pretty good. So, and then before we get into the news and the serious stuff, and then later on in the show talking about your good self and what it is that you do at the museum and etc. We have our 3 pop questions. So these are 3 questions basically that allow our listeners to get under the hood of Georgia. And understand you in 3 simple questions, right? So they're not scientifically proven or anything like that. These are just me making up stuff to see what's going on. But first question, right? You have a cream tea. So you have the scone, you have butter, you have jam, you have cream. What goes on first, the jam or the cream?
It'll be a gluten-free scone.
Yeah, that's fine. You can have one of those.
And I would put the butter on first.
Butter on first, but after the butter, next, is it jam or is it cream?
I always go with cream, no jam.
Cream, no jam?
Yeah. Somebody else can have my jam ration.
No, fair enough. You're just not a fan of jam?
Generally not. I'm kind of more of a salty gal.
No, fair enough. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, but without avoiding the question, if you were going to put jam on, would it be jam then cream, or would it be cream and then would you be putting jam on top?
Jam then cream.
Good. That's the only way to do it. That's the only question you can get wrong on my show.
It's the only way to keep it, complete. Exactly.
It's just scientifically weird if you try and do that. You can't spread jam on cream.
I know, it just falls apart.
Yeah, exactly. And
disaster.
Absolutely. So that's the best part is you've passed the first test, and there is no second test. So you don't have to worry about everything's good from this point forward. Now, question number 2: who is your favourite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
Raphael.
Easy. You were straight in.
Yeah. No
questions. Raphael's my favourite too.
Yeah.
Yeah, simply because it's Richard, Raphael, Red.
Love them.
This is ours. Just for me.
They're so cool.
They are cool. They are absolutely. There's no wrong answers with the turtles because they're just fantastic. All 4 of them, even Master Splinter gets an honorary mention there as well. Now the third question's a thinker, right? So this one might takes a little bit of brain power. Absolutely. Would you rather be half your height or double your weight?
You know what women are going to say, don't you? Generally speaking.
It depends.
Yeah, true. I think I go half my height.
Half your height. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'd do the same. Yeah. I'm not that I'm exactly tall as it is, but I wouldn't be that short if I was half my height.
Yeah.
But I can't see myself being double my weight. Not that I'm large either, you know. So it's like I think I'd rather be half my height. Yeah. No, that's fine. There's no arguments on that one. So we're going to go back and talk about what are the three topics of the week, and obviously the first one, the big major news this week, and it's across everywhere: Facebook, social media, real media, print media, the whole lot, is the election. We've now got a brand new mayor. Sophie Barker, and we've got 14 councillors, some of which are new councillors. So I just want to give it. I stood for election as well in the previous election. So I just want to give my congratulations to everyone that stood, and commiserations to everyone that stood as well. Right, one of the things I've learned is it's actually a very eye-opening thing putting yourself forward.
Takes a lot of courage. Good on you.
It does, and good on everyone else as well, right? Yeah. Like genuinely, there's a lot of people out there. We had 54 candidates for election for council this year, and 14 for mayor, which is a huge number. The interesting thing for me is that for the second time in quick succession, we've had a one-term mayor. So we had Aaron Hawkins was a one-term mayor, and then on the back of that, Jules Radich came in, and again, one-term mayor, and now we've got Sophie Barker, who has been a councillor for, I think, definitely two goes already, two terms. I don't know if there was before that, but interestingly, we've had quite a strange change of councillors. So we had 14 incumbents that were standing. So 14 of the 15 people that were on the last council stood for re-election. Now, normally, STV seems to favour incumbents because it is a bit of a name recognition game.
Sure.
So as I was standing, I'm thinking, well, this could be interesting because actually I'm not expecting very many of those incumbents to drop away to give space to new people.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out that way this time.
It's really been mixed up.
It's really strange. It's not strange, but like unusual. It would be the way I'd use it, because you've had Councillor Wiley didn't get through, Councillor Gilbert didn't get through, Councillor Ackland didn't get through, Councillor who am I missing here? Councillor Wiley, Councillor Gilbert, Councillor Ackland, Councillor Houlihan, and one other didn't get on. And then you've had Benedict Ong, Mickey Treadwell, Andrew Sims, John Chambers, Russell Lund, and again one other. I always end up falling short of one. I don't know what it is, just by the way my brain seems to work. But you've had quite an interest in. Jim O'Malley was the other one that didn't get on. Jim O'Malley was the fifth one that didn't get on. Councillor O'Malley, and then you've got possibly one other person that I'm trying to picture them standing there together. But anyway, you've got 6 new people on.
Yeah, it was a really, really interesting election, and Dunedin clearly wanted to, mix it up and have some new blood and do things.
And it was almost a little bit, well, to say excitement, it's not excitement. It was announced quite early on Saturday that Bruce Ranger was going to be elected, and then by the time the following day, it actually turned out that Mickey Treadwell had kind of leapfrogged him. And now I get that they want to give results early, right? I get that people are wanting to know, but as a candidate, and I'll just put this out there, as a candidate, I don't care when I find out, like, if that makes sense. If they closed the polls at 12 o'clock on Saturday, and then they said to me, you're going to find out on Wednesday, I'd be quite comfortable with that. I'd be like, well, that's the process, right? But the whole kind of like, will he, won't he, and I absolutely feel for Bruce Ranger, who was told that he was, and then 24 hours later or 48 hours later, he gets a phone call saying, sorry, mate, you didn't quite make it because there were still 10,000 votes to be counted.
Yeah, well, sure. I mean, some people would probably find that exciting, and some people feel like they were on death row.
Yeah, exactly. But me, if I'm just told, hey, polling closes Saturday, you'll know by Thursday, I'll be like, I'm genuine. I'll be like, that's cool, because you can't change anything in that time. I'm absolutely happy with that. Yeah. And maybe that's something they need. They are looking at local government reform around that, around the whole process, because we might as well cover topic 2 at the same time. Sorry, topic 3 at the same time as we're covering topic 1. Was the very low voter turnout. So we ended up with 45.47% of voting of people voting. Now, the bit that I find strange, and I've said this for the last 5 years, is that we're technically a left-leaning city. So we always vote Labour. That seems to be the way. Labour, 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 Labour. So in a general election, very much left-leaning. But our council, you'd argue, is probably slightly right-leaning, which doesn't make sense when you rolled it back to the at a national level. But of course, at a national level, we get more people voting. What I don't understand is why people don't vote at a local level, because it's actually, in my mind, it's more important, because at a local level, these are the people that look after your roads, these are the people that look after your parks, these are the people that look after the infrastructure, the buses, and not obviously regional council buses, but all the things that happen every day.
Pipes, water,
exactly, are actually looked after by local government. So I would have thought that you'd probably want to be more vocal at the polling booth around at local level than you would necessarily be at national level, because actually, in my mind, it's more important to you.
Yeah, you've made really good points there, Richard.
Yeah.
I found it interesting too that there was a vampire in the mix.
I love vampires.
You know, I think, Mr. Vampire, if you're listening, next time stand for council.
Yes,
I think it'd be exciting to have a vampire around the table.
I think so. And I think I genuinely, it does seem that if you have stood for mayor, you seem to have a leg up to council, a natural leg up. But I think that's due to the fact that you just get more coverage across forums and candidate meetings and in the paper, and so you're again, because it's name recognition very much with STV, you get recognised more. It
would also get Dunedin in front of the national press quite often, and international press too. Exactly. And that's good for tourism.
Well, absolutely. Like, come see the vampire. But it's for me, it's one of those things as well. Is like we don't get a lot of national press in Dunedin, so it would actually be a very good. We kind of fly under the radar, you know. Even when they do the weather report.
I know, Dunedin completely missing. Do we not have weather?
Well, I keep looking out the window and I keep seeing it, but genuinely, like I always, it's always a bit of a laugh for me when I put news up on the page when the weather report comes in and they go, there's no weather for Dunedin. We don't, but literally every single time they'll tell you that it's windy in Bluff, it's wet in Fiordland, Christchurch, and then suddenly it's like, well, hang on a second. You know,
it's like we're in a Martian vortex or something.
We are, and
weird.
But it's nice. Sometimes it's nice to be a little bit, different, and not noticed. You know, I mean, I don't tell people that we have fantastic weather here, because I don't want them coming down here and just all like, because we do. Everyone likes to think it's cold and wet, but it's actually it's
beautiful.
It's very different from that. You know, I used to live in a place that was cold and wet. It's called Essex, and it was always cold. It was always wet. And then when it was sunny, it was really, really muggy. And you didn't want it to be sunny because it was horrible.
Well, I've just fled back to Dunedin from Auckland. I gave it a year in Auckland. I've done my time.
Yep.
But it was humid and wet every single day just about.
Yeah. Do they give you a badge as you leave? Do they kind of go, well done, thanks for staying for like 12 months?
No. I should have asked for one.
I think they should.
Yeah.
I'm used to big city living because I used to live just outside London, but I don't think I could. Yeah, it's that mugginess. There's something about that mugginess that is just horrible.
And it's going to get muggier.
Well, it is, because we're in a climate emergency, and the world is slowly sort of warming, and the planet is burning slightly. So talking about Auckland, no, we're not talking about Auckland. We're talking about jobs. The topic too is the government turning around and saying that they've done a couple of things recently where they've kind of gone, 18, 19-year-olds, mum and dad got to look after you now. I'm not going to give you any benefit, which I think is an absolutely stupid thing for them to be doing. I don't know if it's them just being able to fudge the figures of how many people they've got on unemployment, because that's easy. Because we've decreased unemployment by not employment, people on benefit by 4,500 simply by just saying we're not giving you benefit anymore. But they've come out this week and they've just keep going. They keep going about just go where the jobs are. Just up sticks, pick up your stuff, go where the jobs are, and and just go out there and get a job. And you look at that and kind of go, like, I've sought employment in New Zealand a few times. I got made redundant 3 times in a row. Right. I'd like to say for everyone listening, nothing to do with me, just restructures in business and stuff like that. But I'm made redundant 3 times in a row before I started doing what I'm doing now, and that's in self-employed. So I can't be unless I make myself redundant. That'll be the end of it. But I've been in the employment market, and it's not easy.
It's tough.
I'm what I would call super qualified. You know, I've got 30 years of work experience, you know, across a whole manner of different sort of, you know, I've got a degree, I've got my education, I've got all these things and, you know.
And experience.
Trying to tell an 18, 19-year-old to just get off the backside, just go and get a job is like, and when unemployment again is its highest since 2020, right? So unemployment is like 5.2 or 5.3%, which is massive for New Zealand. And I'm just looking at, you know, I've got my middle child, my son is in university and he's doing his that. But if he wasn't, he'd be out there trying to get a job. It's not just easy to say, well, hang on, just, you know, that support structure, just go off to Palmerston North because there's a job there, you know, just go from everything and just off you go. It doesn't. Yeah,
you and 2,000 other applicants.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know,
and not every 18-year-old lives in a home. Not every 18-year-old has a safe home.
No.
To go back to.
Exactly.
Or parents.
And it's very entitled and privileged for people that are sitting there in a job to tell other people, just go out and get a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. How hard can it be? Well, actually, there was a guy on Stuff today who's actually just got a job, but he was on Stuff a couple of weeks ago because he'd put in 8,000 job applications.
Yeah.
And not got a single job.
But he has now.
But you shouldn't have to just get national press coverage in order to get employed, right?
Yeah.
That's the other side of it. It's just one of those things where you kind of go, come on, where's the sense in what you're saying? I get that that's what we want for everyone, right? We want everyone to kind of go, you know, when we ask kids, don't we, when they're 4 years old, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah, it's a human right to have meaningful employment.
What do you want to be? And so we ask them and they want to be a fireman and a spaceman and all those kind of bits and pieces. And then they get to school and then you kind of go in, and again throughout school you're kind of going, what are you lining yourself up for? What are you trying to achieve? And then we kick them out and then the government turns around and says, well, you can't have any help from me, right? Just go out and get a job. Just go and pick some fruit, you know, or whatever it might be. You know, go to Central and do that. And it's like transient jobs and, you know, temporary jobs and and you're just kind of going like, where's the duty of care?
Yeah, and when you do move someplace, you've got to have enough money to find a flat.
Yep.
And have transport to where you work.
Exactly.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. And then we're in the cost of living crisis, so doing those things isn't cheap. Yeah. Right, everything's gone up in price. My son, again, we could talk about him. He was driving his car down the road, lovely little Mazda 3 that he'd bought, and someone decided to do a U-turn, drove straight into the side of him. Like, so he's no fault of his own. He's driving down, drives straight. No one's hurt, just a couple of hunks of metal. Right, that's fine. Right, he gets out and goes, "That's no one's hurt. It's just a piece of metal." Right. Gets the insurance payout for the value of his car, which he paid $7 and a bit grand for 2 years ago, all right? Now, can he find a car that matches up to what he had for the same amount of money? No, because even second-hand cars, those cars now are $8.5, $9 grand. Right? So he's got paid out for a car at a value that was fair for what he paid for it. But through the cost of living, because there's no second-hand cars around at the moment, he's now in a situation where he's got to try and find. So he's had to put more money into on top of that to get himself a car of probably a slightly lower standard than he had before. It's certainly a year older, same make and model of car, but a year older. And you're just kind of going, and that's what it's like and he had insurance, right?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people out there going, I can't afford the insurance.
For sure.
If that happens to them, they're now suddenly going, well, how do you get to work now?
Yep.
You know, he was able to borrow a car. He was able to, you know, through family extension, he's able to borrow a car to get himself to work. But if he hadn't, then again, it's just not so easy to just pick up and go.
Yeah.
Go work, mate.
It's not so easy as it looks.
No.
And when you've done your qualifications and you need to get experience, you have to compete mightily for jobs.
Exactly.
And it's okay to expect people to have responsibility and want to have a job, right? That's a good thing. But some of the folks who are making these rules now come from an earlier time when there was far less unemployment and it was easier to not only get a job but change it if you didn't like it.
Exactly.
These are different times.
They are, and there doesn't appear to be any consideration of that from this current government. Now, I mean, I'm not expecting anybody to give me a handout. I'm not expecting anyone to give my kids a handout, because that's not how it works, right? But at the same time, a helping hand is a helping hand. It's you need to be able to help people when times are tough, right?
For sure.
And they are tough right now, and they're not going to get any easier, I don't think, because the economy's shrinking. We lost 1.5% of GDP or something in the last whatever it was. And I'm not an economist. I just see numbers go up and go down, and I just think once that's happening. But if the economy's shrinking and there's less jobs, and you see the amount of redundancies or the amount of job removal that this government has done in the public sector, you kind of go, well, those are suddenly people. Not only is there less jobs, but there's suddenly more competition, because there are people with experience that are now competing with our 17, 18, 19-year-olds with no experience, potentially for the same role.
Yep. The future of work is changing too with technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they've been saying that for a while, and you're starting to see some of that coming down the line, over the last few years. And they were saying that when I was at university and I was doing my computer science degree, before Windows Windows 95 even existed. That's how old I am. But we are seeing it quicker and quicker, actually, that it's starting to that's starting to snowball as the technology side of things is changing the job outlook. So, but it is an interesting thing. I don't know what the answer is the other side of it. If I was going to say, what's the magic, I think you still got to support those 18, 19-year-olds. I think that's fundamentally where you need to be at least sort of saying, look, totally get it, right? We'd love it if mum and dad could support you, but that, and also the bit for me was 65 grand, a combined income of 65 grand as two parents.
Yes.
That's not a lot of money.
It's tough.
Not a lot of money to say, actually, and you should be supporting 18, 19-year-olds.
Yep. And then further down the track, some grown-up children end up having to go back home to live with their parents because they can't afford a flat. Yeah,
exactly.
They certainly can't afford a mortgage.
No. And again, it compounds the whole problem. Not about to put the world to rights today, but it's an interesting topic to discuss. And we're going to talk about you very shortly. But before we do that, I'm going to get a quick word from our wonderful sponsor.
Have you checked out Hazur Kebab yet? It's your go-to for a delicious lunch, a tasty dinner, or anything in between. Order online to save time and pick up some delicious, authentic Turkish cuisine in just minutes. HazurKebabCafe.co.nz. Dine in or take away at 906 George Street.
Do you like a kebab?
I do.
You do? Have you been to Hazur Kebab?
No, but it's on my list.
It needs to be. It's top of my list, because they are the food is fantastic there.
Looks pretty good.
It is. It's cooked with love as well.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely. So Mustafa, who owns the place, he orders my food for me now. So I'm a creature of habit. So if I just go to a place and I like something, I'll always eat that every time. Right. So he'd kind of got to the point where he knew my order every time I went in there. I didn't have to tell him, he'd go, right, this is what you want. I'm like, I need to do something about that, because actually I'm sure all the rest of your food is lovely too. How about you just choose me something? So now when I go in there, he just goes, I wonder, and I don't know what I'm getting.
You're working your way through the menu.
I've actually been through the menu. I'm now working my way back around it again. So
do you have the Turkish coffee?
No, I'm not a big fan of coffee.
And the Turkish Delight?
I don't like Turkish Delight. My wife likes Turkish Delight. So we've had the Turkish Delight and the baklava as well. That's really, really nice. Yeah. But I'm not a fan of Turkish Delight, I have to say.
Yeah. Speaking of food, I quite like Taste Nature.
Taste Nature? Oh, yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about those guys.
It's lovely.
Yeah. We're very well looked after for food.
Sensationally in Dunedin.
We are. Don't get me wrong. There are places. I wish we had more places. I do sometimes wish I had more. I lived in a bigger city in the sense for that even bigger variety. But actually, when you break it down, we've got some absolutely fabulous cafes. We've got some absolutely fabulous Thai, Korean, all different types of food. We are well catered for when it comes to. We are very fortunate in Dunedin. Yeah. And I'm led by my stomach. You can literally get me to do anything if you offer me food. So it's just, and that's important to know for anyone that's out there. I can be bought with food. So please try. Is the other side of it. Please try that. Don't just listen to that and just go, oh, that's all right. Do it. That's how I do all the technical stuff at work. They all the IT stuff I do at work, and they just pay me in lunches.
Wonderful.
I know. It's a win-win.
Bartering.
Absolutely, yeah. But I think we should get back to bartering. That's
Yeah.
just a fantastic. I'm quite happy to offer my services to fix your computer for you if you give me a Kit Kat. I love Kit Kats.
You could, put your rate up a bit.
Like a big bar of Kit Kats, or sometimes I do. It's
Yeah.
like, so, but yeah.
And a side order of Turkish.
No, I'm not. My side order was kebab, Turkish kebab. Yeah, but not Turkish delight.
No.
Yeah. So want to talk about you? Okay. So you Georgia, Ciaran. I knew I was going to get it.
It's a soft C. It's like the
Soft C.
difference between Celtic and Celtic.
Yeah. Yes. Like it.
There you go.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Georgia Ciaran, head of philanthropy and development, Tūhura Otago Museum.
Yeah.
Tell me what that means, because I don't know.
Oh, right.
So
Okay.
give us the 5 minutes Cliff Notes. What is it? Where do you come from? What do you do? Why are you doing it? What's your passion? Tell us all about it.
All right. I started in mid-January, and previously I was the National Philanthropy Manager for Amnesty International,
Okay.
Aotearoa, New Zealand,
Yep.
based in Auckland, but I have lived and worked in Dunedin before. So this was a brilliant chance to come back.
Fantastic.
And they grabbed me from Otago Museum. So head of philanthropy.
What is? Tell me what
Yeah.
philanthropy means, because it's thrown around a lot.
Yeah, it's about human kindness.
Cool.
And the museum was founded by philanthropy, by some very, very generous donors back in the day. And it was sustained by philanthropy for a very long time. But that fell away about 30 years ago. And my role is to reactivate that and to, I get such a huge belt out of matching a donor with something that they're very passionate about. So we've got a number of really cool projects on the go that we need large amounts of money for, because we don't want to ask for more from our wonderful ratepayers. And so, yes, lots of really good things happening. So development's wrapped up with that. It's about the overall development of the institution. And we were so thrilled recently to see that Tūhura came tops of the DCC survey of public facilities. Yeah,
That is fantastic.
Public satisfaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we do such a good job, really.
And it's an amazing place.
Yeah, and most of the galleries are free to visit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for New Zealanders. And recently we've introduced charging for overseas visitors, which is pretty much par for the course. Yep, that offsets our costs quite a bit. And we have wonderful free kids' holiday programs and all sorts of stuff that happens. So it's a pretty dynamic team.
Yep.
Yeah, working really hard for the people. Yeah, and I'm a museum socialist. I believe museums are for everybody and that they need to be welcoming and safe places to visit and interesting,
Yes. Yeah.
all sorts of stuff.
And dynamic, don't they?
Yeah,
Because
living.
there's nothing
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than going back to a museum and seeing all the same stuff that you saw before. In my mind, you can still go through and enjoy it, but it's that whole dynamic thing where exhibitions are changing and different things are coming through, and therefore you can go back and find something different.
Yeah, and we've got a wonderful pop-up exhibition this weekend, which commemorates Jane Austen's 150th anniversary of her birth. And we've got objects in our collection which relate to her work and writing.
So
from the period.
So where do you source that from? Is it like
it's in our collections?
It's in your collections, in the museum's
we've got a massive
collections,
collection,
right?
Mostly in the basement.
Okay, so who decides what goes out?
The curators,
right?
Yeah, they'll get a topic and they'll put an exhibition together. And one of the most amazing parts of that exhibit, because I had a sneak preview this morning, is a sugar bowl from the 18th century, and it depicts an enslaved person, and it's part of the abolitionist movement, trying to get people not to buy slavery sugar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this was all going on when Jane Austen was doing her writing. So, yeah, very much part of the times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Incredible.
So, and that's starting, when's that starting?
It'll be open to the public tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yeah. And then runs for?
It's only on for a couple of days.
Okay.
Because we've got so much else on.
Yeah.
But one of the things I did when I started was I said, hey, everybody, at one of our team meetings, do you know, it's the 150th anniversary of Jane Austen's birth coming up. I think we should do something because, you know, I mean, we've just had Bridgerton and all those kind of rom-coms going on, you know. And, hey, let's celebrate it. So we are. So
fantastic. And all you had to do was go down to the basement and find some and dust some stuff off.
The curators did that, but no dust.
No dust.
Yeah, keep that dust well away. Yeah.
So the basement must be the most interesting part of the museum, surely.
Yeah, it's one of them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So do you? Is it? I mean, I'm guessing. I mean, I don't know anything about museums in the sense of like, you know, how they run and all those kind of bits and pieces. But I'm guessing there's all very much climate controlled spaces underneath where you are protecting and preserving.
Yeah.
Are there also teams of people like repairing and those kind of things? I mean, because I see that in the movies sometimes. You know, like, you know, the
conservators.
Yeah, the ones that look, you know, they got the letter, you know, what it is, the thing of independence or whatever, and they're sort of making sure that it's prepared and, you know, they're looking after stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you got a team of people there doing
We
that
have one
stuff
conservator,
too? Right.
So she's got a pretty full-on job. Quite a lot goes into preparing for exhibitions. The design team does all the labels and sorts out and paints the walls and sets up the cases and things like that. So it can take months before an exhibition, you know, comes to light, for example. Yeah.
And I don't suppose, as a museum visitor, you don't probably give that much thought, do you?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't. Like, you know, you turn up and you kind of go, it's this thing in a glass case, and you look at it and you read the inscription bit and you either go, I'm interested, I'm not interested, and then you move on to the next one and you kind of rinse and repeat around university. But you don't necessarily stop and go, I wonder how many hours of work it took to get that thing, whatever it might be, into that glass case with that inscription.
A lot. I kind of see it like 99% preparation and 1% exhibition.
Right. So we're talking iceberg type style here. You
Absolutely.
know, so what we see above the water is by far the smallest part of this ginormous kind of piece of work that happens
exactly
beneath the surface.
And interestingly, you've hit on a really good point there about museums. Most museums can only ever display about 1% of what they own at any one time.
Wow.
Yeah, because you see, we've been collecting since, let me just get the date right, 1868.
That is some serious hoarding,
Otago
isn't it?
Museum's been doing its thing, preserving stuff for people to see since 1868. And we've been on our site since 1877. So in 2027, we're going to be having 100th on site.
Wow.
Which is amazing. Yeah.
That's
150th, sorry.
That's stunning, eh? So
yeah, we've been a part of Otago for quite a long time.
Slightly longer than I've been alive. Ever so slightly.
Yeah.
So are we? Is our museum like? It must be one of the oldest in New Zealand. Are we the oldest, or we not quite wear that? Don't quite wear that crown.
And also, we're one of the big four.
Right.
The big four metropolitan museums.
Who are the other three? I'm assuming Te Papa is right up there.
Auckland Museum and Canterbury Museum.
Okay. So I've been at Te Papa.
Yeah.
I haven't been to either of the other two.
Yeah.
I've obviously been at Otago Museum.
And unlike Te Papa and Canterbury Museum, bless them, we receive absolutely no government funding. We'd like to help look after our collection because we need to build an off-site store so that we can house our collection in better conditions.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised after 150 years of hoarding. Yeah. That's some serious collection going on.
It is.
So, do you, as a museum, and again, I told you this. I'm just nosy, right? So I like to find out stuff. Do you buy stuff, or is it donated, or is it a combination of stuff? Do you get on Trade Me and you kind of go, I'll there's something of historical relevance. I'll buy that. I mean, Trade Me necessarily, but
yeah, it's a blend of both. Donated items, but we have very limited funds to purchase now. So
right.
Yeah. But we have extensive collections, for example, of works from throughout the Pacific.
Okay.
And at the moment, we're completely remodelling our Pacifica gallery, which will be opening probably early next year, and it's going to be sensational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine it will be.
We've got, I do believe, the biggest collection of Pacifica items in New Zealand is right here.
Right here, right on our doorstep.
Yeah, and it's got a lot to do with the fact that the museum was once owned by the university.
Okay.
But not anymore.
Not anymore.
And so the archaeologists and entomologists and other folks, zoologists, wanted to get good stuff from overseas so that there was a representative collection for students to have a look at, and they would then donate it to the museum so that everybody could see it in time. And that's why we have the wonderful animal attic upstairs as well.
That is a scary place.
I love that place. It's so Victorian.
I know. I love the fact that it's got the lions that was escaped from Lawrence.
Yeah.
And I know the guy that survived the attack.
Ooh.
Because there was a young lad
that
was mauled by one of the lions before.
Yeah.
He used to work for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad he survived.
We called him Lion Man.
I know.
It's fantastic.
It's a sad story.
It is a sad story because those animals had to be put and shot.
They did.
So,
they did.
but there's something about stuffed animals, and that puts me on edge a little bit.
Yeah, well, I've actually got a lovely poster for you.
Go on.
I had a secret feeling you like the lions.
Oh, look at that!
That's Sonia, the lady lion.
The lady lion.
Yeah.
That is, and it was. I think it was the man lion that mauled my mate. I can't remember his name, but I can see his face now in my head. That's fantastic. The Lawrence Lions. Yeah, and that was 1978, and that's just a rare rat king. Rats. I'm not very fond of rats. The Rat King is spooky. Yeah.
But it's wonderful to be able to go and see. Like, I love the polar bear.
Yeah.
To be able to come on in for free, come and see these animals from all over the world. It's really nice.
So I'm not a big fan of stuffed animals because it feels like I'd much rather see them running around live.
Yeah.
But I guess it's a different way of preserving and showing.
Yeah, especially the ones that are now extinct.
That's the sad bit. When I see stuff like that kind of like, and to be fair, I'm a big fan of all our Tonga species and our wildlife that live in and around, and it breaks my heart that we might be seeing the extinction of some of those in my lifetime.
Daily.
Like genuinely in my lifetime, we might see the end of hoi-ho on the mainland, and we might see the end of Maui dolphins, Hector's dolphins, those kind of things like fill me with dread as someone that's kind of like, maybe 20 years ago I didn't give it much consideration, but as I'm kind of getting a bit older in life, I'm finding that stuff is, more and more we need to be not having museums with those in. We need to be making sure that they don't make it to museums, if that makes sense.
I think it's really good that we've got various predator control systems going around in and around Dunedin. That's a really excellent idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, to try and control those pests.
So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off then. Sorry, you've got like 1% of all the things that you own on display. Approximately.
Yeah.
Which means there's a vaster stuff that doesn't. What's the size of the so I've got a few questions because they're all bubbling around in my head. What's the size of the team that you've got at the museum? How many people are actually there doing all this amazing mahi?
It's pretty lean management.
Yeah.
It's 50 people now across various departments.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we all work pretty hard.
Well, you would be, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because you're open 7 days a week, right, as well?
Absolutely.
Which is
every day except Christmas Day.
Wow.
It's all go.
It is all go.
Yeah.
So, and you say you used to be owned by the university.
Yep.
When did that stop? And now
I don't know exactly.
No?
No.
But you're owned now by Dunedin City Council?
No. We're independent.
Right, okay.
Absolutely. By Act of Parliament, and I do have a date for that.
Go on.
1996. We have our own act.
Yeah, fantastic. So coming up 30 years. 30 years next year.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We are 50% core funded by the 4 district councils, though, which we're very grateful for. Yeah. So our operating costs are around 10 million a year. So we receive around 5 million from the 4 district councils in total. And
those 4 district councils being Dunedin City Council,
Clutha, Waitaki and Central Otago.
Okay.
Yep. And we raise 5 million a year ourselves. And we do it, we squeak in just there through things like admission to the planetarium and the tropical forest,
right,
and science centre and things like that,
plus
other events that we hold. And of course we've got an on-site shop,
yes,
which is great too. But coming back to extinction, the moa.
Moa.
Yeah, now I have to let you know that we have the biggest exhibition of extant moa skeletons in the world on display,
Wow.
including a moa egg. I think there's only 3 in New Zealand completely whole.
Does that mean it's still got the goop inside?
Apparently it's got stuff in it.
Stuff inside?
Yeah.
Yeah. It won't be goop anymore,
Be a
will
bit
it?
whiffy by now.
Can you imagine if that broke?
I know.
'Cause I used to work
Tragedy.
at a chicken farm, like when the horrible battery hens, right, back in the day, and the chickens would get out, and then they'd lay eggs, and and then you'd find them like days, months, weeks later, and it was a game of throw the rotten egg at each other, like between me and the guy, and some of them when they went off, the smell was just like, you just couldn't explain it, like
Pretty manky.
egginess to the millionth degree, right? So a moa egg, if that went off, there'd be some pretty noxious.
As well as the egg and the skeletons, we've also got moa footprints.
Yes, I'd heard about that.
That was a pretty good thing that happened there, being able to rescue them. And the river was actually diverted on purpose so that the footprints could be rescued.
Remind me where that was, because that wasn't
Kyburn.
it wasn't that long ago, was
I
it?
think it was Kyburn. But what was also amazing was that experts were able to tell how fast the moa was walking and what kind of moa it was.
Wow.
It was going pretty leisurely, I have to say. But yeah.
I've talking about moa. It must be the time for it, because I've got Nick Rawlins on the show next week.
Yeah.
Who is a moa expert.
Wow.
So he's coming on the show to talk next week. Now I'll tell you before I tell him. I'm of the firm belief, and I've said this on show before, that moa is still alive.
I'd love that. I think so too. I'd love to think they're lurking around in Fiordland, just
That's my view.
minding their
that
own
is my
business.
view. Not the giant ones, not the sort of 8 foot tall ones.
Yeah, the smaller
but the
bush
smaller,
moa.
like the smaller, the
small South Island
the
ones.
chicken sized ones.
Yeah.
The maybe even up to sort of like sheep height ones.
know.
I think,
Yeah.
I genuinely think, and it's not just me being like silly. I genuinely think they will still be alive and well.
Yep.
Especially because obviously the Haast eagle is no longer alive and well. That one I definitely believe. I'd love to have been
Massive.
around when the Haast eagle was
Huge.
around. I love birds of prey.
Yeah.
They're my. If I'm going to pick a bird of prey is kind of where, like, it's my favourite. I love all birds, but they're the ones, right?
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been around to watch a Haast eagle take a sheep somewhere, like just grab a sheep and just pick it up and just grab it. So because they're definitely not around, because I'd have noticed them. But I do think in Fiordland there are moa.
Well, there's so many undiscovered places.
Exactly.
You
And
know?
we're still finding new species, like literally
yeah.
throughout the world, we're still finding new species. We're
Yeah.
still seeing, we're still making discoveries. We're still finding animals that we thought were extinct and realising that they're not. I mean, Takahe is a prime example
Exactly.
of that. They believed that was to be, they were gone,
And these moa might have learnt to be very shy.
Well,
And that if they need a full breeding population, but they could be lurking in Fiordland.
easy. That's
wonderful.
that's where I believe they are.
Yeah.
They're just hiding with the moose. Because
True.
they got moose out there as well. I'm not sure about the moose thing, but I definitely think that we've got moa there. Before we move on, I've got a couple more questions for you. Well, I've got lots more questions for you. Go
And
on.
we have got a moa footprint on show at the moment
Fantastic.
at the museum.
That's what good to know. But
Yeah.
before we go on anywhere, I'm going to get another quick word from our sponsor, and then we'll come back and talk a bit more about moa.
Okay.
Have you checked out Hazur Kebab yet? It's your go-to for a delicious lunch, a tasty dinner, or anything in between. Order online to save time and pick up some delicious, authentic Turkish cuisine in just minutes. HazurKebabCafe.co.nz. Dine in or take away at 906 George Street.
So talking about the ownership of the museum, you're independent. So technically, who owns you?
The Tūhura Otago Museum Board
Right.
runs it,
Runs it.
has governance.
Okay.
But technically we own ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, but we hold the collections in trust for the people, capital T, capital P.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So, you get 50% of your funding from the 4 district councils.
Yeah.
You can get 50% of your funding through the fundraising that you do and the ticket entries that you charge and stuff. Now, again, being someone that stood for council and has followed council quite significantly over the last few years, we often see in the long-term plans and the district plan and the annual plans, the trying to secure more funding for things and bits and pieces, and obviously the university is one of those people that is doing that. Why don't you get the central government funding that?
It's a really good question, and it's a question that's been kicked around in museum circles for decades in New Zealand. Tūhura is a charity, which comes as a bit of a surprise to people, and we need help because we're one of the 4 big museums, and we've got what's called the national distributed collections, meaning we don't distribute the collection, but the collections that are of national significance are distributed throughout New Zealand in the 4 big centres, and also in other centres as well, other smaller centres. And we feel very strongly in the museum sector that some form of central funding should be made available, especially for building developments that we need to do to safeguard the collection and basically, do things like earthquake strengthening and sprinkler systems that we desperately need, especially in the Victorian part of the building. We don't want that to fall down.
No.
And the collection being damaged, which it would. It's just the collection's just too important for all of those years of collecting to save them for everybody to be able to see for the whole future. To lose that,
No, because, you might have an insurance policy on it, but it doesn't replace anything, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Do you, I guess you must have, as an organisation, you might not know the answer, but do you have an estimation of value of the stuff that you hold? Because it's got to be in the billions, right?
It's so hard to quantify, absolutely. You've got to then count every single insect, for example, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they come up with ballpark figures, but as you say, you could never, ever replace the items.
No. So again, from a central government point of view, because some of these things are of national significance, like not just they're nice things and we don't want to lose them. They're actually they've got massive heritage and God knows what else value.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't. It just doesn't make any sense to me that even if you've been talking about it for decades, why someone hasn't kind of gone, look, we just need to give. If they need $5 million to build a thing that protects these things, we just need to make that money happen. Because in my mind, that is that's investing. That's putting money into something to save an outcome that it becomes. The longer you leave, it becomes inevitable, right? Because at some point something happens. And you've lost something that you can never retrieve. It's like the extinction thing. You at some point you lose an animal and you can't get that back. Yeah,
and sometimes people don't realise how important these things are until they're lost.
No, exactly.
And in previous governments, there used to be funds that you could resort to for new museum collection stores, for example, but they don't exist anymore. So times are tough for museums as well, and times are tough for Tūhura, which is why they've hired me.
Right.
Because at the moment we need around $1 million to re-roof the tropical forest and upgrade the HVAC system in there. And we need about $1 million to upgrade the projectors and other aspects of the planetarium and things like that. But it's the quake strengthening is the biggie. Could be upwards of 10 million plus sprinklers as well. And it's just crucial. So in Dunedin, there are very kind-hearted folks who are people of means. So if you're listening, feel free to get in touch with me and we can talk.
But so that's your job really, is to find other avenues of generous donation and kind of match people to things that they might be interested in.
Be passionate about. And I think it's also a matter of local pride as well, so that these treasures are safeguarded for the people of Otago as well.
Well, the people of New Zealand, full stop, isn't it? I mean, it's not just because you have a huge amount of international interest.
Yes, and we were recently voted on TripAdvisor the second best dinosaur museum in the world because of our plesiosaur, which is an amazing fossil, which is also on show. It's huge.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to bump into that thing in a swimming pool. It's massive.
Well, maybe you would. Were they friendly?
No.
They weren't friendly.
Big nasty teeth.
They weren't, okay, maybe I don't want to bump.
Yeah. I think they would have been hungry.
It's not the same as swimming with dolphins, where you kind of go, that's really cute, and then suddenly you're dead. Because when you consider that there are places like the Natural History Museum in the UK, in London, which are massive, full of dinosaurs and God knows what else, to hit that to hit that kind of accolade on TripAdvisor is pretty damn special.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It is.
And it's interesting you bring up that museum in London, because the Animal Attic and the building that is in is modelled on the Natural History Museum in South Kensington.
I still got very vivid memories of a childhood trip for school, going to the Natural History Museum in London and just kind of going in, and they've got that bloody, I think it's a whale thing, just hanging from the sea, like
we've
blue,
got that.
We've
got a big whale.
Yeah. Oh, no, I've seen that. I've seen the whale.
Yeah, I know, and that's been there since it opened.
Yeah.
1877. It's pretty impressive.
It's been there since 1877.
Yeah, I do believe so.
That is.
I've seen pictures of it way back in the day, Victorian era.
Way back in the day. So you're shy 2 million at the most, at the moment, at least, for things that you need doing.
Yeah, for the planetarium and the tropical forest roof. But for the quake strengthening, we're getting cost estimates at the moment. I've just made a new word up, costs and estimate. We don't know. It'll probably be between 5 and 10 million. And as you know, Dunedin's just been upgraded in terms of the seismic ratings.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that even means, to be fair. But I know that I know it has changed, and we're now apparently on the same level as places that are sort of had seen far more quakes than we have.
I mean, one of the reasons I came back to Dunedin was because of the beautiful architectural heritage here, which is just amazing. You know, in Christchurch, a lot of it's fallen down, and other places have been redeveloped and demolished, but not here. And we need to hang on to our built heritage. So, quake strengthening, that would be something that would be so lovely to have central government funding for.
It just seems mad that
one of the top 4 museums in New Zealand,
and you can't get it. So when you get that quote, you're running on 10 million a year, and doing that on, like, genuinely. I know it sounds silly when you talk about $10 million, but you are genuinely doing that on the sniff of an oily rag. To
Absolutely.
be fair, right?
Extremely lean.
And then you need 5 million or 10 million.
Yeah.
Like, do you just have a staff meeting, just kind of go around and just cuddle each other and go, like, how the hell are we going to do this? Or like, where do you suddenly find that kind of money from? Because there should be some kind of fund in my mind.
It comes down to demonstrating need and letting our wonderful public know that we need help. And there was an item about me on the front page of the ODT recently, and it was talking about why the role had been created. And part of my background is in multi-million-dollar generation for worthy causes.
Okay.
Working with wealthy people who want to do some good in their lifetime with their money, or perhaps leave a bequest to make it happen as well. So, yeah. And those people do live in Otago.
Yeah,
So,
I get that they do. Do you get a lot of that kind of, like, that bequeathing of stuff? Like, I don't know if that's even a word, bequeathing. It sounds like it should be. With, like, someone passes.
It is a word. It's a good word.
Someone passes and goes, here, I want $1 million to go to the museum on my death.
They used to.
Right.
Okay, and then 30 years ago, roughly, that dried up. So I've been reactivating that with things like our bequest pamphlet, and also we've got a new website that's going to be going live soon, and it's got a whole section on how you can help Tūhura financially.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that very much aimed at those high value individuals, or is it like, if you want to give $1 a week,
do it.
Then we welcome your donation, and we think you're a wonderful human being just as much as those people.
Every donation matters.
Okay.
Absolutely, especially to me. All of our donors matter. We just need more of them.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you have I'm assuming you must have a vehicle for people that have been able to do that. If I suddenly said, I want to give you $2 a month,
Absolutely. Yep, there's ways to donate, and it will all be on there actually is the bones of it on our website now, but on the new website it will be all flash.
Right.
And fabulous.
Flash and fabulous. We like flash and fabulous.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with flash and fabulous. When are you expecting the new website?
It should be up and running by the end of this month.
Okay.
So fingers crossed.
So that's only a couple of weeks away. So that's not we're not talking very long.
No, that's true.
So is that a brand new website for the whole I keep wanting to call it the university, it's not the museum, for the whole museum?
It is.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be great. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, so other than Jane Austen, and we've got literally a minute left, I told you this would fly by.
Yep.
Have we got anything else that's coming soon that people need to know about, that need to kind of come along and have a nosy at?
Well, I think just to talk again about the Pacifica Gallery, which will be opening early next year. That's going to be massively wonderful. Total revamp. Beautiful. So that's really important to us.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got a wonderful Pacifica community here.
Absolutely.
As well as our wonderful collection.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's the perfect place to end the show. Thank you very much for coming on. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, for getting under the hood of what's happening at a wonderful museum. If you just sit there while I round out the show, but thank you very much. Love to have you back on.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, that's a wrap for this week. Thank you for tuning in. I've been Richard Knights, and you've all been wonderful. Remember, if you're looking for robust, respectful adult debate about all things local and further afield, and a welcoming online community that doesn't take itself too seriously, come and find What's News Dunedin on Facebook and join our fun. On next week's show, we'll be talking to Nick Rawlins, mower expert and de-extinction critic, and we look forward to seeing you next Friday at 12 on OAR FM. And if you wanted to listen to the show again, or simply share it with your friends, you can find the podcast at oar.org.nz, or even on Spotify, YouTube, or your favourite podcast provider.
This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.